Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are at Snetterton for round 2 of the Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship. This has been a long-awaited return, and that's just me. But as you can see, the cars are already underway, and I cannot wait to see how the day unfolds. We've got a fantastic entry list, and what an amazing event put on by Anglia Motorsport Club. So thank you very much, guys. Well, let's get straight out and see what's going on.
A fantastic entry this weekend indeed, Sam. Round 1 winners Frank Bird and Jack Morton lead an all-star castaway, with Chris West in that Porsche with number 2 on the door, although he will start further down our entry. Rhys Yates returns to the championship to take the challenge to Bird, with Rob Swan in the older but no less spectacular Subaru WRC running 3rd on the road. Leading the classes away this weekend are Joshua and Tamsin Davey in the Darien in Class C. Ian and Oliver Hucklebridge are first out of the blocks in Class D, and it's Chris Skill and Simon Jones in Class H in their Mark 1 Escort. In Class A, we have Christopher and Anthony Newton. Then it's Chris Rook and Steve Harris in Class B, William and Stuart Moore in Class E1, Paul Gorge and Daniel Hurst in the MX5 class, and Frank Bird and Jack Morton in E2, with Chris West and Keith Hounslow blazing a trail in the GT class in that Porsche. Don't forget, you'll be able to see additional coverage in our second programme from the event, taking a much more in-depth look at the class battles here from Snetterton. But for now, it's back to Sam with the morning's action.
On to the morning's opening stages then, and it would be Rhys Yates and James Morgan who take the early lead of the event, winning both the first 2 stages in their latest spec Fiesta. They certainly weren't walking away with the lead though. Frank Bird and Jack Morton were pushing them all the way. Out this weekend in a similar Fiesta that they're trying out from M Sport. With only a very, very short test in the car, they're settling in well, just 6 seconds off the lead. Mark Kelly and Neil Coleman make a great start with 3rd place for now. A little bit nervous about how the car was going to perform on the various gravel sections on this event, which was probably costing them a few seconds here or there, but not affecting their position overall. The R5 Fiesta may be the car of choice for many of the top 10 here, but for Rob Swan and Steve McNulty, it was still good old WRC power in the form of their ex-works Subaru Impreza. They in the opening stages just 7 seconds back from Kelly. One of the early standout performances would be the great start by Elliot Payne and Cameron Fair. A change to an R5 car from the R2 Fiesta meant that they had the machinery to be at the top. But with a lack of seat time, who would have expected this start? They weren't going to let that be an issue though, ending stage 2 in 5th place overall, just 35 seconds off the lead.
To hairpin right. And 90 left. 90 right.
Kev Proctor and Dave Bellaby make their first trip down to Snetterton, having not entered this round in the past. Rallycross experience was hopefully going to play into Kev's hands on the gravel sections this weekend, showing the young'uns, as he says, the pair ending stage 2 in 6th. Before the event, Charlie Payne had joked about the possibility of his son Elliot beating him, and unfortunately for him, that was becoming a reality. Charlie, along with co-driver Carl Williamson, end the opening stages in 7th place overall, and most likely getting some stick from Elliot in the service area, we hope. For Andy Scott and Mark Fowler, it would be 8th place for now. The times were close right through the top of the results, so there were still places to be gained, with a good push on the next few stages. Chris West and Keith Hounslow come into this round off the back of a retirement at Donington. They were out to push for an overall result, but the Porsche was always going to struggle against the 4-wheel drive cars when they got onto the gravel. For now, they end stage 2 in 9th overall, leading the 2-wheel drive crews. Their lead of the 2-wheel drive crews, however, wasn't going to be an easy one, with David Henderson and Chris Williams rounding out the top 10 overall, just 4 seconds back from West. The pair also leading the way in Class D with the time so far. Second in that class were Martin Hodgson and Tony Jones. The Escort pair a few places back on the overall results as well, in 15th. In Class C, it would be the early lead for Josh Payton and Jamie Vaughan. 2 seconds faster on the second stage of the day, but they had already opened up a good advantage in that place. Their lead would be over Anthony Allery and Dan Tribe in 26th place overall, 32 seconds back from the class leaders at this stage. In Class B, it would be a similar story as far as the gap was concerned. Chris Ruck and Steve Harris in their Corsa taking the early lead in that class with an advantage of around 30 seconds. Their lead over the first outing of the Peugeot of Mark Peterson and Jim Bowie, second in the class and 10 places back on the overall results. The E1 class splits the more standard four-wheel drive cars from the front-running R5 and WRC machinery, and it would be Ryan Moore and Freddie Hewitt who take the lead in that class after stage 2 in their Subaru. Stuart Cadman and Mike Withers end this stage with second place in the class. There was only 8 seconds in it though. A good close battle would be on the cards going into the next stage. In the historic class, it would be the battle of the Mark I Escorts, with Aaron Ricks and Rob Cook taking the advantage early on in 37th place overall. Ricks would have a lead of 36 seconds over Terry Pankhurst and Jamie Sparks, second in the class for them and lying a few places back on the overall results in 43rd place. Cassie Nicklin and Darren Scale make a really great start in Class A, looking fast right out of the blocks to take the class lead in their Micra. Chris and Anthony Newton were not going to let that go without a fight though, just 2 seconds between them on the first 2 stages, even after having a puncture on stage 1. It meant they now needed to play a little bit of catch up. Sadly, the MX5 class would take a very early shake-up as well, as we lose Paul Gorge and Dan Hurst when they don't make it out of the opening stage. We also lose Nigel and Catherine Brain when they get as far as stage 2 before being forced to stop. That left Steve Dolman and Adam Houston leading the way in the MX5 class and sadly now flying solo, so they were going to have to take their fight to the overall results.
So with 2 stages complete here at round 2 at Snetterton, it's advantage Yates, with our round 1 winners close behind in second. Still plenty of positions to play for in the overall and class leaderboards as we go into the rest of the morning's stages.
On to the next stages now, and there would be no change at the top. Reece Yates and James Morgan continue to lead the way and extend that advantage a little too. Stage 3 would see us use another gravel section on the circuit, and it would certainly be somewhere you could lose time if you weren't careful.
Reece, you're giving young Bird a run for his money, aren't you, today?
Yeah, we're having a good run. We're having a nice run. Yeah, we're enjoying it. This morning, I think a tyre jumped out and bashed me straight into the side front bumper. But yeah, other than that, it's been pretty good, really. Loads of fun. So you just always get giddy. I always try and be efficient, but I just can't help it but pull an handbrake and send it round every time. But I'm always thinking, like, in the back of my mind, James is always like, come on, be efficient, like tight and stuff. So yeah, it's going all right. It's going good. I don't know how we get on with that one, but other than that, it's been spot on.
No change in second place for Frank Bird and Jack Morton. They lose a couple of seconds per stage to the rally leaders, but certainly keep them in sight. The gap now at 15 seconds.
Frank, we've got a bit of competition today. How are we finding the new car?
Yeah, it's going good so far. I'm quite happy with the pace really compared to Reece. So yeah, getting used to the car and enjoying it so far. A lot different to the Focus, but should be a bit quicker this afternoon.
Mark Kelly and Neil Coleman were struggling to match the times of the two fighting it out the front, but that wasn't really a negative thing because the pace was so quick. They were still getting used to the car and more than happy with third place and the times that they were putting in.
The boys up front, Reece and Frank, are just, their pace is unbelievable, and we are trying hard. We just can't get close to them, unfortunately. But we're loving it all the same, and we're trying hard. We genuinely are. We'll see what the afternoon brings.
Another crew happy with the pace, and quite rightly so, were Elliot Payne and Cameron Fair. Up to fourth place now and really settling into the car more and more each stage. Even setting the third fastest stage time on stage 3. Elliot certainly looked like he was enjoying it.
Alright, still getting used to the brakes and everything. It's just completely different to what I've been used to. We're getting somewhere close now.
Kev Proctor and Dave Bellaby gain a place in this pair of stages. Unfortunately, the gravel section in stage 3 was causing some issues with dust and would be cut from stage 4. A real shame as the pair look to be enjoying the change of surface. They move up to 5th place overall now.
It's making 2 old men happy today.
It's making the rest of us very happy as well. I love watching you come through that gravel. It was fun.
Yeah, no, we're having a great time. It's a pity they've just knocked the gravel on the head, because we were enjoying that a little bit, but there you go.
It would also be a place gained for Charlie Payne and Carl Williamson. They move up to 6th place overall, 12 seconds behind Proctor. Rob Swan and Steve McNulty would be suffering a little from a misfire that was causing them to have to short shift, but their main time loss would be down to stall in the car a couple of times. They sadly dropped down 3 places to 7th overall now. Chris West and Keith Hounslow would gain a place in these stages though. They were lucky to get away with a little moment on stage 3 where they clip a fence and knock part of the bumper. A few inches further over though and they could have been in a lot more trouble. 8th place for the pair at this stage. David Henderson and Chris Williams were closing in on the top of the results a little more now. 9th place in the Escort. There would be a worrying moment when the intercom stopped working midway through. David was okay with that, and thankfully it came back on again. And rounding out the top 10 as we reach the midpoint in the event would be Andy Scott and Mark Fowler, dropping down the results a little but still managing to keep a top 10 place for now.
So before we look at the class and overall results, here's a reminder of how that top 10 is shaping up. No change at the top, but with 4 more stages to go, anything could happen here in Norfolk.
Before we take a look at the final overall results, let's take a quick look at how the top of the classes were decided. With just themselves left in the MX5 class from the early stages, Steve Dolman and Adam Houston just had to finish. But as the others in the class had already shown him, that was easier said than done. They did end the event with that class win though, and 43rd overall. There would be a change from this morning in Class A. Brett and Andrew Murray would end the event with 2nd place in that class in the MGZR. This would be partly down to the loss of Cassie Nicklin and Darren Skill when they retired midway through the event. And taking the win in Class A were Team Newton. They'd already taken the lead of the class from Nicklin in Stage 3, so it was just a case of keeping things going to the finish to take the win, adding to their Round 1 victory back in December. There wouldn't be any change at the top of Class B. Mark Peterson and Jim Bowie continuing to hold on to 2nd place in that class right through to the finish in the Peugeot. And that of course meant that the class win went to Chris Ruck and Steve Harris in the Corsa, finishing 27th place overall as well. Things would remain the same in Class E1 with Stuart Cadman and Mike Withers taking 2nd place, unable to close that gap to the leaders by the end of the event. It was certainly close though, with Ryan Moan and Freddie Hewitt taking the class win, but with only 12 seconds between them at the top of the class results. Terry Pankhurst and Jamie Sparks remain 2nd in the historic class. They have a little moment in one of the afternoon stages where they clip the tyres and take a cone with them for a little while, but apart from a little bit of damage to the front of the car, things were all good for that 2nd in class finish. That means then that it would be the win in the class for Aaron Ricks and Rob Cook, giving us some entertainment on the penultimate stage with a donut, even if it was a styled out spin. They end the event with 23rd overall and the Class H win. There would be changes to 2nd place in Class C in the afternoon stages, Robin Adams and Ray Keith moving up to take 2nd place in the class just at the finish. But the Class C leaders would remain the same throughout, with Josh Payton and Jamie Vaughan taking that class win and 12th place overall. The pair had briefly made it up to the top 10 as well, so they would be more than happy with the pace this weekend. For Martin Hodgson and Tony Jones, it would be 2nd place in Class D, a little way off the class leaders who'd managed to make their way into the top 10, but they would still be happy with this 2nd in class finish. It would be a bad day for Joshua and Tamsin Davey. They didn't get very far into the opening stage before having to pull the car over. They would restart again for the afternoon to get some seat time, but that was very short-lived when the car then caught fire, causing the stage to be red flagged and stopped. They were both thankfully okay and the car was saved with the help of the marshals and fellow competitors, but certainly an event to forget for the pair. On to the top 10 overall then, and it would be 10th place for Paul Wedgbury and Neil Dashfield, gaining a few places to take that position in the Scuderia at the end. Sadly though, we would lose Rob Swan and Steve McNulty from the results when they pull over at the side of the stage with gearbox problems on stage 5. A disappointing end, but the pair had enjoyed being back out in the car up to that point. A puncture would drop Chris West and Keith Hounslow down to 13th overall, and with a job to do to get back up into the top of the results. They do manage to pull back some more time later on in the stages to end the event with 9th place overall, and of course the GT class win. Steve Finch and Sam Fordham take advantage of some changes above them and put in some good stage times to move up to 8th place overall. A good finish for the Fiesta pair. David Henderson and Chris Williams continue to lead Class D to the finish of the event, as well as gaining some places overall. They end the day with 7th place and fastest of the two-wheel drive cars. There wouldn't be anything more Charlie Payne and Carl Williamson could do to catch those ahead, but the weekend had gone well for the pair, some good seat time and a good result for the gravel rally regulars. Kev Proctor and Dave Bellaby would be lucky to keep hold of their 5th place overall to the finish. A mistake on stage 7 would see them struggling to find reverse gear for what seemed like ages. They would eventually get going again and go for full style points on the hairpin, flinging in a donut as a crowd pleaser. Despite all of this, they do keep hold of their 5th place, only by 7 seconds though. This weekend had been a fantastic debut event in the R5 car for Elliot Payne and Cameron Fair, really getting to grips with the car and showing great pace from the start. They end the event with 4th place and will certainly be ones to watch in the future. On to the podium places then, and we wouldn't see any change for Mark Kelly and Neil Coleman. They were happy to let the leaders pull away from them a little bit more and take that 3rd place. There were a few places that they felt they could improve, but for this event, they were more than happy with a podium out of such a competitive entry. Sadly, there wouldn't be a repeat of the win from round 1 for the so far unbeatable pair in Frank Bird and Jack Morton. They had been pushed all day long and had gone really well in a new car, never more than a few seconds from the leaders, and setting a few faster stage times on their way to 2nd place overall. That of course means that it's the win for Rhys Yates and James Morgan. Victory by just 14 seconds at the end of what had been an enjoyable but very competitive event. A good boost of confidence for the pair before heading to Alton Park in a few weeks' time.
So before we go back to Sam to chat to the crews at the finish of the rally, here's a reminder of how those overall results looked by the finish. Remember to keep an eye out for our 2nd instalment here from Snetterton, where we take a look at those class battles right through the entry.
Rhys, James, it's been so good to have you guys with us today. How's it feeling getting back in the car?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, we started off a little bit rusty, both of us. James was throwing his map about and I was going for handbrake instead and stuff. But yeah, it was good. It's his B-day today as well, so he's 30 today, James is. So yeah, it's good to get a win for that. And yeah, it's just good to be out. It's a great event, well-run championship and everything, so it's just great to be a part of, to be fair. So yeah, we've had a good day, haven't we?
You kept that quiet. Why wait till the end of the day? I know he is, isn't he? Well,
not something you want to celebrate, really.
Well, massive congratulations. What better way to spend your 30th than to be sat in alongside this guy winning an event when we've not been out in so long?
No, it's been a nice day and with good weather, and organisers done a good job for the rally, and Rhys has driven pretty well. It was pretty well. No, don't tell him he's done too well. No, it's been good. It's been a really good day.
Now, when James is quiet in car, it means you're driving all right.
Frank, Jack, huge congratulations. You've had a bit of a run for your money today, haven't you?
No, we've had a good day. Yeah, Rhys has kept us honest all day, so yeah. Some of the stages were really close, so I think some of them were like a second, so yeah, we've been pushing on, and sure he has as well, so been good to drive R5 for the first time, and thanks to the team for adapting and working on the car and stuff like that. Jack's been good, so Alton Park should be good, hopefully.
I was going to ask you about that. So how have you found this compared to your Focus? Because obviously it's a massively different car, so how have you found adapting to a new driving style?
Yeah, it's been a lot different. This is only actually the second different rally car I've ever driven, so a lot different with the a lot more nimble, better on the brakes, and Focus is still a mega car, and it'll be back sometime soon, hopefully.
That was my next question. I was curious as to whether you'd been officially converted or whether you were going to go back to your Focus, because it's strange seeing you in a car like this. We're used to the red. Seeing you in it didn't look normal. So how are we feeling about that?
Hopefully it'll be back. I'm missing it at the moment, but yeah, I need a red car back, that's for sure.
Yes, you do. And Jack, I mean, you've got to be pleased with him because he's been right up on the pace with the rest of the guys today, and it has been a long time, and you haven't got that much rally experience, to be honest, yet, really.
Yeah, considering we've probably, well, with the overall time in today, we've probably only done about 55 minutes of driving in this car. Had a very, very small shakedown on Thursday, so for him to just jump into it, like, there was no issues whatsoever. He took to it like no problem at all, and yeah, we're very, very pleased with how we both performed and the cars performed. So big thanks to M Sport for letting us have the opportunity to use the car.
Mark Kelly, Neil Coleman, third overall. I mean, the competition, you've got to be pleased with that, haven't you?
Yeah, we're not in bad company, are we, tonight? No, we've really enjoyed it, and we knew coming here that we'd have our work cut out against Reece and Frank, and as it proved, probably more than I imagined, to be fair, but that's testimony to those guys. They've been absolutely fantastic, and yeah, we've tried as hard as we can today, and there wasn't a lot more, so fair play to those boys and congratulations to them.
Mark, fair play to you. You do not give yourself enough credit. You really don't. It's the second time you've driven this car actually competitively on an event, and to be getting the times that you have been against the likes of these who do this a lot, you've got to give yourself more credit because it's incredible.
We are delighted, genuinely, and when you look at the lineup for today in the top 20 cars and beyond, you know, there was some serious stuff here today, so the fact we're here and sharing the podium with, you know, the class acts there, then yeah, we are delighted.
And for the rest of the season now, this holds you in a pretty good stead because you're going to be at Alton Park and then at both Angleseys, aren't you?
We are now, yeah. There was a possibility we couldn't make any of the Angleseys, but yeah, things have transpired now. We can make both Angleseys, so yeah, hopefully we'll do the full championship now. So yeah, we couldn't do much more today. It's been brilliant. I mean, the event's been run really well. We've never driven the car on gravel, and it was a baptism of fire on there this morning. So it was interesting today. So yeah, like I say, nothing we could have done with the front two. They were in a league of their own, but we tried, and that's all we can try. Can't try any harder.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is round 2 in the bag. We still have 3 rounds to go, but what a podium this is. What more can you ask for? We've had battles, we've had dramas, but what a good day it has been to get back out rallying. That's all for this round. We'll see you very shortly at Alton Park. Thank you for joining us.